name's Joe Estrada. I'm the Director of Technology and Information Services, and I'm here to report out to you. Actually, this is part one of a two-part implementation. Last year, about this time, the last week in June, we came to you with a resolution that was very similar to the one you passed earlier today for permission over the summer to procure equipment to roll out a 10 gigabit backbone and wireless equipment. And last year it was for the secondary schools, our 6 comprehensive high schools, Olympic, 9 middle schools, and Walnut Acres. And about a year later now, I want to report out that we're about 98% complete. And this is basically how the project Milestones went. First we had to select what it is we were going to put in a 10 gig backbone. We looked at different things. We made a selection analysis. We then moved to an acquisition of that equipment, which brought us to the resolution that we brought to you about a year ago. We did an RFQ analysis. We went out to RFQ to probably more than half a dozen companies and got 3 very good competitive responses to the RFQ. Then there were security considerations, the actual deployment, and now we're in the testing and adjusting phase. And that's probably the most complex and time-consuming in that a wireless radio is very much like our surveillance cameras. Once you buy a certain amount, you're never going to have enough. You're never going to have enough for 100% coverage. Someone will always want a radio installed. When we designed these schools, per our bond, it says that we were going to provide a 10 gig backbone for classrooms. So what we did is each classroom got a hardwired port for the wireless access point. Doesn't mean we're going to put a wireless access point in every classroom. We really purchased enough for probably every other classroom, and we're leaving it up to the site leadership to decide where their priorities are, where they're going to deploy the most wireless devices. And down the road, if we want to purchase more, we can. We looked at a variety of things to choose the type of equipment we were going to go with. Sustainability. We wanted a lifetime warranty. After all, this is for a bond that we're going to pay over the course of 20 or 30 years. So with our switches and wireless access points, we were able to find a company that would provide pretty much an unconditional lifetime warranty. Anything happens to the equipment, we call an 800 number and we get it shipped out the next day. Support and training was something that was considered very important. Putting in a whole new infrastructure, and for example, just having a contractor come in, put it in and leave, really it was not conducive to sustainability. Our goal was to make sure that our staff could actually maintain and support this equipment once the deployment was done. Manufacturer financial health, the fact that we could get a 10 gigabit backbone. We wanted a dual wireless radio because they put out twice the range that a normal radio would put out. And we looked at total cost of ownership. Based on the above criteria and the RFQ analysis, we chose HP ProCurve for switches and wireless radios. We then went to determine what we needed to purchase and how much of what we needed to purchase. So we did a survey, a comprehensive survey of the 17 sites I just mentioned to get a port count and room counts, so we actually knew how many switches to purchase. Once these were compiled, we created a spreadsheet with the part numbers. We then solicited quotes from the major resellers, and we chose the least costly of the 3 different quotes that would accommodate a piggybackable contract. We awarded to the lowest responsible bidder, which was 50% below list. These are the 3 bidders. CDW came in at $2.9 million. Decotech Systems came in at $2.5, and Tiger Direct came in at $2.69. The significance of this is a complete 10 gig backbone and wireless deployment for 17 sites. I have a friend in a neighboring neighboring district that went 10 gigabit and wireless at a brand new high school in 09-010, and it cost $600,000. And that gives you any kind of idea of what kind of return on investment we got for 17 sites. Security considerations. When you put up a wireless access point, it's the same thing as making a plug in a wall available to whoever can see that wireless network. You have to really take security seriously. We are using Radius and Active Directory technology for employee login. Basically, the login to your email address, the credentials and password for an employee will be the same to get you on the wireless network at any part of the district. For students, we have another Active Directory protocol that will allow them to access their files within their share, but they can't access the same things that teachers, staff, and employees can access. For a guest network, we're just going to have a simple password, and really all a guest network will get you is internet access. We also wanted this solution to be scalable, and I'll give you an idea in the future slide just how far we've come in 2 years. But by scalable, I mean too, in the future, we are looking at people bringing their own device. Many people, even right now, bring a smartphone, a tablet, in addition to their district-issued device. To accommodate that, we looked at something called a NAC, a Network Access Controller. A NAC will essentially look at a foreign device and determine if its virus protection is up to date before you let it on your network. It'll look for malware and harmful apps and programs, and it'll manage high bandwidth devices. We don't want somebody, streaming Netflix off their smart device and clog up our network. Just to give you an idea of the scalability that I mentioned earlier, the equipment being replaced was a mix of very old technology, in some cases more than a decade. The techs visited 200 IDFs. An IDF is the closet where you go, where you frequently see a tech go to where these switches are installed. 200 of them. They installed enough switches and copper modules to accommodate 14,440 devices. Now let me give you a little bit of what we're dealing with. When I started here in 2000, we had 8,000 hardware devices on our network. 2 years ago, we had 10,000 hardwired devices. We've now given the district the capacity for 14,400 hardwired devices, but keep in mind, we've also installed on those hardwired devices 1,000 wireless radios, which will in turn give access to, on average, 12 more wireless devices on top of that. You're looking at 14,400 plus 12,000 more devices. That's just in the secondary deployment. In about a year, we're going to come back to you and report back on the primary deployment, the elementary schools, and you're going to look again at another 12,000 devices or more. So really what we've done is we've gone from 10,000 devices to 40,000 devices in capability in just 2 years. It's huge, but like I just mentioned, people like to bring their smart devices to their school or their work. It's something that we had to look for and something we had to take into consideration. Keep in mind, most of the installation was done after hours, because when you shut a switch down, when you install a new switch, you're affecting connectivity. Teachers still have to be able to take attendance. Schools still have to function, and we can only accommodate that by working after hours. To date, with 90% of the project completed, $25,000 in overtime for almost a year's worth of work. We had teams working every weekend since October, every weekend, to install and learn these devices. We leveraged $100,000 in training from HP along with this to train our technicians in how to maintain these and support them for future needs. $25,000 compared to a $2.5 million project is very small. That's our senior tech.